What up, y'all? How you doing? Good morning. It is the 11th of July, Thursday. It is a little bit after 6. Starting my day out, getting ready to head on off to class. Um, for those who do not know me, my name is Gerald Davis. First of all, welcome. It was not by chance that you stumbled on my channel. It was time. So welcome. Just to give you a little background, in 2011, October, I decided, no, I didn't decide, it was decided for me that I made a change. And I accepted my higher power to govern my life. My higher power is known by many names, but I identify him as my Lord Jesus Christ. And ever since I made this sound decision, my life has been made new. I have clarity in my direction, and through patience and persistence, I have found my purpose. No, I am not a minister. I am one that has a strong faith and appreciation and a very, very precise ability through discernment to understand. So more or less, the Spirit connects through me to connect to you. So I welcome you and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to hear my message by way of Him. I hope everyone's summer, I know it's hot, it's been on rotisserie. I know it's definitely here in Virginia Beach, it definitely is. But yesterday I put a video out with the topic of discussion. And after I had done that video, I went down to the ocean front and took time to literally walk along the shoreline and allow the water to cascade on my feet. And as I was doing that, the waves were purging anything that may have had some resonation or something that may have been bothering me out. Now, you're probably saying, well, Gerald, you seem pretty laid back. What's bothering you? Well, for the most part, I am. But I am human. But I'm a spiritual being first, just like you. And as I was looking at the clouds and taking in the ambiance of the people down there, allowing the sun to get into my skin and work the divine magic. I don't like using magic, but allowing the sun to put those rays into my spirit, because that's vitamin D, and I highly recommend that if you're in a place where you haven't gotten out, get out. Get out. Go for a walk. Even if it is around your neighborhood. Allow yourself time to connect with your environment. I highly recommend connecting with nature. Because when you allow yourself to do that one selfless act, it is a healing property for you. You find that your mind will give you the clarity that is needed in regards to maybe decisions or choices that have been you've been thinking about, especially if these are times that are challenging. And this is what brings me to my topic this morning before I go to class. Now, give me 1 second because Tyson is walking around. I'm going to make this one quick. Because he's like a little child. If I don't keep my eye on him, he's gonna get into something. Give me 1 second. Yep, I was right. He was trying to get into something. But I love him, and it keeps me on my toes. So, he's like dealing with a 6-year-old, You child-proof your residence. Well, you gotta do the same thing when it comes to your beloved animal. He's like a son to me. So I gotta make sure that I protect him from himself. Now, which makes a good segue for my message today. Now that we are embarking in summer, and you are starting to see things in a different light, first starting off with that cell phone, how many of you right now have taken the time to go through your contacts? It is very important that you do so. I guarantee when you do, you're going to see some people that are in there that should not be. That should not have access to you. They don't deserve that right. And you must remove that connection between you and them. Think about it this way. Sometimes you have to close a door for growth and development. But even if the door is closed, does not mean that it's locked. It serves a barrier or boundaries between you and that environment. Don't you think you're worth it? Don't you think that you deserve to have all the harmony and peace of mind? You can't buy peace of mind. You can't go to, it's funny how society has coined the phrase retail therapy as a way of trying to navigate a situation. Because a problem is nothing but a situation that has not yielded a proper solution, which takes time, which takes courage to look at it for what it is. But see, a lot of times we allow the outer package to distract us, and we think, well, if we don't say anything about it, if we ignore it, it will go away. It ain't going away. Sometimes it's like a bacteria. Unless you clean that wound, it'll fester. It'll actually gain strength to the point that something will have to be done to have it removed. Don't do that. Stop doing that. I know I'm talking to somebody. So my message today is to purge. What do you mean, Gerald? Listen, you know how once a year you go through where you live, and you go through things and you look at its value, its worth, how it's connected, what should be discarded compared to what should be treasured. It is very important for your emotional stability to do the same thing. Because you got to understand, if your mind is not right, you can't keep your body tight. And if your body ain't tight, because wherever the mind flows, the body shall go, you can't make sound decisions for you. And unfortunately, you know that phrase, sleeping with the enemy, got coined. It was a distractor. Just like right now. You hear Tyson in the background. He's mad. He's in the kennel. Because, see, I normally let him roam when I'm out, when I'm here. There's no need for him to be confined. But because he's a Stafford Terrier, I know better that if I left him around, half of my stuff, if not all of it, would either have dog marks, chewed up, would end up being his chew and I can't afford that. Now, let's look at that as a segue. Are you tired of your life feeling like it's been chewed up? You've got emotional scars. You've got, it's like you've been through emotional war. Well, guess what? I'm here to give you that medicine that you need. Now, I don't expect some people to understand. Actually, I expect for some people to be pissed off. Because, see, it takes courage to look at adversity. You can't find a solution unless you look at it. That's how it is. But it is important that you do what is beneficial for your longevity. Now, you gotta understand something. You were not, your existence, your legacy was not chosen to be in pain, to be miserable, to feel burdened, to feel enslaved. Why? Why are you doing that? But I also know that you only going off of what you know, what you've been exposed to. Well, I'm here to let you know that your life is very precious, and it is very important that you treasure it so. This does not mean being snotty or using negativity for negativity, because all that's going to do is yield more negativity. You got to remember now, the energy that you possess or give off is the same energy that you attract. It's an extension of who you are within. That's what the law of attraction basically brought down, if you want to dilute it. So if you have people in your life that don't respect you, or you're being taken advantage, or you're in a situation where you feel that you're doing time, physically, emotionally, you're being held hostage from who you are, who you really are, because who you really are is what you feel within your inner child. And if your inner child is saying, you know what, this ain't the way, then why won't you do the work? Why? See, when you allow your pride and your ego, see, your pride and ego is going to talk you down off that ledge like somebody's going to jump off a building. See, your problem is on that ledge. And your pride and ego will say, well, you know, I'm going to talk you down. But see, little do you know, by you being on there, you're basically trying to take a leap of faith. Because you're searching for a new direction. So you must purge. So, with that being said, I'm going to give you guys 20 seconds if you got any little ones in the room. Because I'm going to try to be very discreet as possible, but I want you to understand truly what needs to be heard. So it is 15, 20, it's 15:30. I'll wait till the 1600 mark and then I'm going to speak. Okay, so hopefully by now, if there's any little ones in the room, you may have either opted to go to and watch this later, or you may have just ushered them out of the room because they don't need to hear things that they should. Alright, so excuse me, as I am walking in the ocean surf yesterday, and I'm listening. I'm just looking at I'm looking at the clouds and connecting with the water, and I'm just taking in by the Spirit. And I tried to talk about it yesterday, but I didn't know how to navigate it because I didn't want to offend anybody. But then last night, as I slept, I had a dream. And I was placed in this room. And like a fly on a wall or something. And I saw this woman. Now, I don't know who this woman was, but she was very attractive. And she had met this man. And this man was handsome. He was a handsome guy. And the woman felt, I would assume, attracted as well. And he brought her to this place. And as he was starting, it seemed like an interview. And the more he spoke to her, the more he started, his complexion started to alter a little bit. It started to get faded. Like the pigmentation was coming out. And the more and more he would ask his questions, slowly but surely they would become more personal. He was seeking, you could tell he was trying to find a way into her comfort zone. And the more and more he asked his questions, the more and more his behavior started to change. But see, the woman didn't see that. She only saw what was being projected from herself and him. So she saw nothing but good. And what would end up happening is this man, the outer part of him would be transformed into a beast. The more and more that he had access to this woman, the more and more he would transform. And then eventually, what would happen is he would consume this woman sexually. And then all of a sudden, there were two other people coming out of the darkness to have their way with this woman. And then what would end up happening, that she would become one of them. See, they were feeding off of her essence, her spirit. That's what they wanted. And he knew that all he had to do was use the bait, the approach, to get her, to lure her to the point there was nothing left. I woke up from that dream and I couldn't understand why I was seeing that. I had been, TV wasn't on, so I don't know where that came from, but it made me think. There's a lot of people walking around, and probably people that you know right now, that are with people that do not have their best interest. They are being compromised sexually. They are being violated emotionally and physically to the point that they're being abused. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If you know someone, or this may be you, get out of that situation. Let that go. First of all, you're being manipulated. And the person that has access to you knows that they have your number. And they're going to continue to do what they want until you speak your truth. Now, there's a difference when you condone something compared to being coerced. It is important that you love yourself. So, let me go here. I also know that there are some people right now that they feel that the only way that they feel their self-worth is that they have to compromise themselves sexually. My dude, if you saw how priceless you are and your life is as priceless as it is, that's not the way. That's not the way. You know, I used to tell everybody, you know, if your great-grandmother had the ability to come back, would she embrace you with a hug because of where you are in your life? Or would she go to the nearest tree to break off a switch to change your mind? If you had to take stock on how you governed your life right now, how would you think you would be? How do you think you would be rated? Think about that. But it's very important that you purge. If you are in an environment, or you have people in your life that you've allowed access to, and they do not see your worth, it's time to purge. And that's why that proverbial saying, birds of a feather flock together. Ladies, if you've got girlfriends that are not carrying themselves as ladies because they constantly disrespect themselves, let me tell you something. Until they see their own worth, they will not change. They will stay the course. And the longer that you stay around them, you will eventually become them, or the things that you do not like, you will become. That's how it works. So you must protect yourself from the things and people that don't see your worth, truly. If you have someone just, if you've given people access because they're one-dimensional, the only reason why you can see them because of what they can do for you, you'll never be emotionally or physically independent. You must stand your own. Because when you do, not only will you have a confidence and an assurance of who you are, but you'll respect yourself even more because you did it on your own hands. That's right. Because see, the ones that don't respect you, they look at you as this. Oh, you mean that's all I've got to do to have access? Well, I'm going to do that. But guess what? There's no love in it. There's no different than paying a bill. You're more important than that. You're worth more than that. So stop. Stop disrespecting yourself. See, a person can't do anything to you unless you allow them to do it. But you must take ownership of that choice. I know you've heard this saying, this proverbial, the walk of shame. Well, if you condone it, there shouldn't be no shame in it. But if you settle it, then you might as well. That ain't the way. My fellas, you want your queen? I keep echoing this because I'm trying to get you to see your worth. You cannot buy your queen. You cannot attract your queen until you do the work within yourself and be the king that she needs. And therefore you both will become equally yoked. But guess what? Equally yoked can also be demonically yoked too. A lot of people get that twisted. They think because, well, you know, I went through all this pain and then I found the one. How do you know that that's not your taskmaster? Because if you have not done the work emotionally, physically, you're attracting the wrong person. You're actually attracting what's within you still. That's why the Bible says, peace be still. To allow you to find clarity. Ladies, here's another perspective. You know, when you get tired of being tired, get sick and tired of being sick and tired, what do? You alienate yourself from that problem. But some of you will do the work and reflect. Others will allow that anger within you to become a justification to give that energy off to someone else. You're not supposed to do that, mama. Because guess what? That same emotional energy is like a beacon. This is like a hotel sign that's on. A hotel can't make money unless you leave the light on. And that's basically what you're doing spiritually. And it's time for you to purge. So, until you do the work. And let me put this in perspective because I'm getting ready to break 30. See, it is important that you do the work. Invest in yourself. If you want the man to be in your life, for those that are seeking, first of all, you ain't supposed to be seeking. For those who would like to have the companion that truly is your mate, stop looking for him. Stop stop doing it. And I know look, I know how it is. Some of you have been alone for a long time, and you said, you know what, I just wanna and come home to somebody. I wanna lay in my bed with that one. I wanna feel their touch. I wanna share my day and my thoughts with that person. They're coming after you see your worth. But every time you take it upon yourself to go outside and take things in your hands, you're allowing the enemy to have dominion in your life. You attract the people that you don't need. That desire, or people call it lust. See, as long as you foster that in your spirit, that's what you're going to get. And then it becomes a surprise when the guy doesn't love you. And the only time he wants to come around is because he wants to take your bra and panties off. And then depending on how broken they are, they're going to use you as a toy and have you compromising yourself. See, here's another thing y'all may have overlooked. You know why you don't have the companion, the one has not come? Another reason? Because see, you are loved. You know, as I say, if there's no love in it, why do you hold on to it? If it cannot grow, why just let it go? You must have balance. But see, here's the big thing. Some feel that, well, you know what? If I express myself sexually, they'll stay. If you're engaging in intimacy that should be expressed as if you're married, you won't be married. Because you're basically sending a message out to God saying that I don't need you to do your job. And actually what happens is the devil says, I know. Don't worry about him. I'm going to keep bringing these dudes in. And they're going to keep doing what they want. They're going to keep trying to attack your heart. And they're going to try to break your body down and compromise your self-respect to the point that they're bold enough to exploit you. And they only keep you around until they have someone else that they can do the same things to. But I'm not excluding the men. I'm not excluding the women, because here's another thing I want to drop in your ear. How do you think cougars are born? How do you think they come about? Give up? Cougars exist because they were connected to a sugar daddy. Yes. They were with a sugar daddy. And when they got to a point of what they thought was independence, they go get a young guy. And the cycle continues. Then the young guy eventually learns from that and becomes the sugar daddy. Hence the cycle is continual. Or sadly, some of the women will think that, well, you know, if I get with this guy, he's older, he'll treat me the way I need to be treated. No. See, you gotta first have courage. Because what you're really saying is, I lack the love and attention that I should have gotten from my dad. And I'm searching for a man to fill his shoes. Let's see, your first relationship that you ever had should have been with your father. But some of you didn't have that opportunity because he was broken too. And with that pain and bitterness, all you wanted to do was be loved, protected, respected. But because you had that seed of pain, you kept getting it again. You kept attracting men that only wanted to abuse you. It is not your fault. You're going off of what you only knew at that time. But you do know. You do know. You know what you don't like. You know what you don't need. So purge it. Take time to heal. Because when you do that, guess what? Your mind becomes well. Your body will rejuvenate itself. And your life will be made new. But you only can do that when you get real with yourself. You was not brought on this planet to suffer. But it is your responsibility to govern it. So, lastly, look at your cell phone. If they don't see your worth, as soon as you look at that name, right off the bat, you'll know if they worth it. Do not feel sorry for these people because they don't feel sorry for themselves to change. Do yourself a favor. Cut them loose. And if it's divinely meant, they'll do the work and you'll see them again when it's supposed to be. But I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 they won't because they're arrogant. They're afraid to look at themselves for who they are. Therefore, their life is going to be plagued with the same habitual cycle. You're better than that. Purge them. Lastly, govern. Watch. Be careful what you hear, what you allow yourself to hear and see. Negative influences everywhere. It's important. For those people that are using the social media, be responsible. If you are in a position where you're hearing from people that you ain't heard from in eons, now that's different from catching up. But then if it turns to like, well, yeah, I want to blah, 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 blah. First of all, they just want to hit it. Second of all, they know you're happy and they're miserable. And they will use an opportunity to make your life hell. Be responsible. Thirdly, remove the option. You can't change anybody but yourself. You can't. A person will change when they want to change. And if they're constantly giving you excuses why they don't want to do it, that should tell you right there. Number 1, they're afraid. Number 2, they don't want to grow with you. Number 3, you need to leave them alone. Listen to your heart. What does your heart say? If it don't feel right, that means you need to get the hell on. You need to do it. You deserve it. Stop making excuses for other people. Govern yourself. And when you start to do these things, the people will change, your environment will change, you will become more happier, you will also have clarity on who you are. And that's what God wants. Don't you think you're worth it? So have courage and do the work. And I know somebody right now says, well, sure, I don't want to live my life alone. You won't. You won't. So I'm going to tell you that. When you get your mind right, get your spirit in balance, all those people that were your distractions will actually be terrified of you because they won't know how to take you, and they will walk out on their own. Like I said, real recognizes real, and a fraud will always expose himself without your doing. So, do you want to be happy? Then claim it. God loves you. You know I'm praying for you. Stay blessed, y'all.